Happy Victory Monday, and welcome back to the playoff edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to another edition, a very special edition of the Purple Rain podcast, a playoff victory Monday edition
hmm
of the Purple Rain podcast. Makes it that much sweeter. Welcome back to episode 292. The Make Kimuratu episode, the Leland Taylor, Martin Chase, Bronson Calfusi, Namdi Matabike, and Ravens Ring of Honor should be a Hall of Famer in my humble opinion. Number 92, one of the legends of the game on Saturday, Haloti Nada edition of
hmm
the Purple Rain podcast. It is
Yeah.
a very, 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 very good Monday because the Ravens have beat their biggest rival in the playoffs. Dare I say, belt to ass. Dare I
Oh yeah.
say, dare I say, took the foot off the gas out of respect because it could have been a lot more. We both know that. We when he got there healthy. We'll talk all about that. Thank you all for coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. You follow this guy right here on X, on Instagram at Sutton Def. You follow me on X at simplyas10 or on Instagram at simplyas10.prod. Most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. I'm not doing good right now with it, Got a little something, but best believe when I do shave, I will be using that Manscaped. You can go in there, use code PRP for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. But yes. What a good weekend, son. I got to ask you, I think I know the answer. How was your weekend?
I was amazing to say the least. Going into that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I didn't really expect it at all to be that much of a dominant performance from our boys, but I'm glad it was. I was quoted on here saying last week that I thought the Ravens would win, but the Steelers would cover the 9.5, and they did not cover that 9.5. So it was literally belt to ass, like you said. I don't think there's any reason to shy away from it. And of course, we're going to get all into that. But before we do, we got to bring up who's here in the live chat. What's going on to everybody here in the live chat? Says Dre is in here. Says, what's up, Purple Rain Gang? What's going on? Of course, we got
Going on?
Mod K Dog giving the shout out to Manscaped as usual. Also, Mod K Dog giving the shout out to the hashtag replay gang. So, yes. If you are new to this channel, right, and you're not actually catching the live version of this show, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Hello to you. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining the show. Excuse me. He also says smash that damn like button, man, because it's free and it helps these guys out a ton, and it really does. It really does. All right, we have a super chat donation. This one, our first super chat donation of the night. This one's coming from DWAS. What's going on, DWAS? Appreciate you for coming through. Hope you enjoyed that game on Saturday just as much as we did. Says the referee on Sunday is Carl Sheffers. Okay, yeah. I mean, I remember Carl Sheffers. I think I read earlier today he refereed the game that we had against the Chargers earlier this year in like week 14, and we had like 9 penalties for like 109. It was something crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes in this one. We're going to be on the road again, and man, you saw the way that the refs were reacting to Josh Allen yesterday. Bill Vinovich out there literally going all the way over to the sideline. Let's just start with that, right? Going all the way to the sideline to console Josh Allen about a missed call. Like I've never seen anything like it. You?
Yeah, that's a little weird. Where was that for when they missed the face mask on the first punt of the game? I'll put my hands up. That stuff shouldn't happen. You can admit to being wrong, but during the game is not the place to do it. That's just me, maybe because I'm a Ravens fan, but as an NFL fan, someone who's supposed to be non-biased going over to the other team and like apologizing for a missed call is insane. There's how many missed calls are there a year? You don't see the referees apologizing for them to mid game. It's weird. It's very weird. But yeah, that was not it, to say the least. But yeah, Carl Sheffers, like you said, yeah, we did have 9 penalties against the Chargers, but thought we played a little bit of a cleaner game on Saturday. So let's just hope that we can keep that going on Sunday. I saw it might snow, which I'll talk about more on Thursday. I hope it does snow. I hope there is some precipitation out there just because it suits our style of football. But we'll get more on that Thursday. But yeah, We're moving on to the biggest thing, and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. we are the final game of this divisional weekend, the
They
final of
knew.
the 4 games. Yeah, they know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we got to talk about that Steelers game, and was just a huge performance from the guys, and just kind of firing on all cylinders, like we've been looking forward to, or we've been longing for all season long. This team really does seem like it's peaking at the right time. Zach Orr's got this defense playing damn near lights out, minus a few pieces here and there that I know we'll probably touch on in the show. But the offense right now, it is quite literally pick your poison type of offense, and just this read option between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is putting defenses in absolute binds. And the difference between how it is now, like how this offense is flowing now with kind of like that read option scheme, is that it's cold outside, right? And it's playoff football where things like you have to get big, you have to get more physical than the other team. And our brand of football, to your point that you were just making, it travels. It travels in that weather. So I think that there's going to be some home field advantages that the Bills don't necessarily have against a team like the Ravens. You know what I mean? And I kind of figured the same thing for the Broncos, right? Because they're another team who's seen a lot of cold weather games and whatnot, but they just simply do not have the talent just yet to match up with a Buffalo Bills team and go stride for stride with them. I believe this Ravens team does, and of course we'll get more into the Buffalo matchup later on this week. But I did want to start with the fact that you were at the game, right? You put the streak on the line. The streak is still alive, and
Yeah,
congratulations. Okay, I
yeah,
see
got
you.
it
I
right
see
here.
you.
Say got the commemorative ticket because they don't. My biggest like boomer take is that like we don't have like physical tickets anymore. So I always love getting the commemorative ticket. You know what I mean? Like everything's on virtual. You know what I mean? It is nicer
Yeah,
to put your phone up there, but gotta have that virtual one right there, the real thing. But yeah,
for sure.
was there. I was there. It was a last minute thing. I wanted to go the whole week, and finally Saturday afternoon, pulled the trigger, got tickets. I was in the 500s, but had a good view. I was in the end zone, and I got to see Derrick Henry break away to me, away from me.
Nice.
It was a good time. Got down there early, around like 5. Hit the tailgate, a couple of drinks. Um, Tell you what, it wasn't as cold as people made it to be. If you layer up and you were right, you had the hand warmers in with gloves, ski mask, you kept yourself warm. But I got in the stadium, vibes were high. Like I expected us to win, and nerves were there, but they weren't like nerves of losing. It was just nerves of being in the playoffs. But once I saw how we started off defensively and offensively, yeah, there was no going back. The biggest thing I was scared of was us starting off slow, and I was talking about with Rushu when I'm like, you just know we're gonna have that stupid tip pass interception like we always have in the playoffs. He's like, yeah, bro, like that can't happen, and it didn't happen. And after that way, the first drive went, running it down the field, Lamar running it, something that we weren't really doing it with him all year, but caught him off guard, and then dare I say, going into the vault, Mister Munkin, Derrick Henry and the Wildcat.
Yeah.
Lamar lined up out wide, motioning over. Some Steelers taking the bait of Lamar, Henry up the middle, and Mr. Minka Fitzpatrick meeting the king. That is Henry. I mean, that just set the tone for the rest of the game. The energy was awesome. Third quarter, I did get nervous. I'm not gonna lie when they scored those touchdowns. Felt like we took the foot off the gas, but as we got the game, I was like, why don't we score more points? I thought of you. You were right. Lamar was the game manager the second half. We didn't play to lose. Running the
Yeah.
ball, getting first downs. We weren't going deep, taking time off the clock. I love the way we played. Like I said, we could have put up more points, but we got there with the win. Stats don't matter as long as you have more points than the other team. So it was a very good game. The freaking atmosphere was electric. Ray came out. Suggs was there.
Mm.
Nada was there. Steve Smith was there. Terrence West was there. Blast from the past. It was a great night overall. So I really, 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 really love that game. Probably one of my favorites I've been to.
Yeah, yeah. We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from Jabari Cruz. Alice, thank you so
Yes.
much, brother, for coming through.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
donating. We appreciate it. Says, what's up, Purple Rain gang? Ice Cube, no Vaseline should have been playing during this belt to behind beatdown. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Jabari. You're not wrong. Um, Again, thank you for dropping the 5 piece in the chat. But that was a crazy beatdown, and our guy Alice got to witness it firsthand. You mentioned you got to see Derrick Henry pull away from defenders towards your side of the field, away from your side of the
Yeah.
field. I know that had to be awesome to see. So the touchdown, like the long touchdown that he had, where there were like 6 guys, literally like a convoy behind him,
Yeah.
was that the one coming towards you or going away from you?
His two touchdowns were away from us. The stiff arm was in front of us. Him
Got
going
it.
away from us, I kid you not, I didn't even celebrate. Like my jaw was to the floor because like I haven't seen. that, like I just thought he was gonna get 10 yards, but the way he just broke away from everybody, like that's Derrick Henry, and it kind of reminded me of 2019. Like the Ravens were trying to claw back against the Titans, and we had hope. We scored a touchdown, and then what does Derrick Henry do? Breaks off that run that just demoralizes your whole defense, and that is what he
Yeah.
did to the Steelers. They thought they had a way back in the game, like 21-7, and they did score another touchdown, but we went up 28-7. It's like it's hard to come back from 3 touchdowns down in the third quarter, and it just really crushed their defense. And for a defense that talented, our O line, I gotta just give him a round of applause. Roger Rosengarten, I
Yes.
mean, lock it. You say playing no Vaseline, play Akon locked up for TJ Watt. Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward. Larry Ogunjobi didn't play last time. Deshaun Elliott didn't play last time. This is gonna be different. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. That was the offensive line. Like I said, fantastic performance. Stanley, fix those false starts for me, please. Legal shit, fix
Yeah.
it.
See, so like you bring up the offensive line, and I'm glad that you went there because a lot of the run schemes that we do have, of course, they're all going to be reliant on the offensive line and then being able to move a guy out of the way to create a hole. But it just seemed like it was on a very consistent basis. And I know the fact that you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in that backfield that puts defenses in a lot of different types of conflict and causes them going either which way, and before they know it, Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson, one of the two of them is running right by them. But at the same time, the guys up front are blocking really well. Tyler Linderbaum, of course, doing his thing. I even got to give a shout out to our guards right now, Falele and Patrick McCarry. Of course, they're not always going to be um, locking shit down. They're not. They haven't been as impressive as I would say, like as we are with like a Roger Rosengarten or something to that degree. But on a lot of these big plays where they're springing off big runs, they are moving guys around. Quite frankly, and this run game is just so methodical, right? It's so methodical. It's so mechanical. So many moving pieces in that machine. I can just I can only imagine how difficult it is as a defensive coordinator or just simply as a defensive player alone, to just to keep up with something like that for 4 quarters. It's a lot, man. And like the speed, the mixture between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, that mix between finesse and power, it scares you in two different ways, but like it's kind of like equal, right? So it's literally pick your poison at this point, man. And it's led to a lot of really good performances this season, but I can't wait to see what they do going forward.
Yeah, and I think it bodes well for this game coming up because I think the Steelers have one of the more impressive D lines left in the
Right.
playoffs, especially AFC.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, Rousseau, um, Miller, those guys, they're good in Buffalo, but I just think the way what we did is Pittsburgh, that's huge. And it's not like TJ Watt was hurt. He said he was feeling a lot better after the game. We played him, so it's like they were healthy, but we just went out there and we took advantage of them having type of momentum, and I'm cool with that. We're what 13 minutes in, and we haven't mentioned a certain player on this team who scored a touchdown, who we've gone to war for, both of us.
Mm,
We've
yeah.
we fought the long battle. Could you just inform me who scored the first touchdown?
Well, it was none other than the bat himself, man, Rashad Bateman. And I'm so glad that you got to witness this again, right? This guy is just stepping up in multiple moments for us. And I couldn't be more proud, honestly, of a guy like Rashad Bateman, like just a guy who's been kind of on this roster, but not really contributing in the way that a lot of us fans thought that he should have been. And that's why a lot of people were giving him criticism, didn't understand the extension, all those things. But for him to be performing like he is now, and like that was like a contested catch in the end zone, right? It wasn't just like another wide open one. Like you can tell this guy's confidence is getting is going through the roof. And my favorite thing about that Rashad Bateman touchdown was that the celly, the celebration,
Mm,
it was the same celebration from his very first touchdown as a Raven.
mhm.
The fake ball toss and then drops it. And like I don't know, he hasn't done that since his very first touchdown. At least I don't think. I can't remember any other time he's done it, but it was just man, love to see that. Love to see that. But what did you think about it?
I mean, I couldn't see who it went to because I was up. I know we scored, and I saw his Bateman, and the past 3 games I've been to, he scored in every game, and I haven't bet on it. I haven't worn his jersey, but I'll take it though. I mean, I love seeing Bateman score, and just in general, just the way we played, it was very good in that first half. Uh, Even the Justice Hill touchdown, real quick, with 11 seconds, like Lamar, with all due respect. That's an awful football play. You can't be doing that except for him. He's the only quarterback in the league, I think, who can make that play and make it
Yeah.
look right. And he had Bateman open, but the line collapsed on him. And thankfully, Justice Hill, great play by him, dumps it out to the flat, wide open, touchdown.
Yeah, and it's just like how well he manipulates the pockets on plays like that. Like he's done that multiple times in his career, and like you said, you're right. There's really not a whole lot of other quarterbacks who can do that. To this point, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he can't even do it to the degree of Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson's just so quick. He's just faster than a lot of these guys. I'd be interested to see if Jaden Daniels is another
Yeah.
impressive rookie. He's looking really good too. He might be able to pull something off like that. Maybe I don't know, but man, Lamar, and like you said on that touchdown to Justice Hill, it's really an ill-advised play to be stepping up, bouncing back and forth through the pocket like that. Like just get rid of the football, jump out the window, try to pick up some yards with your legs, something like that. But Lamar Jackson, his ability to buy so much time in the pocket, it tears defenses apart. It tears defenses apart because at the end of the day, your corners, your DBs can only cover but so long for so long. Like you're not going to be able to plaster a guy for 8, 10, 12 seconds while the quarterback dances around in the pocket because your big guys can't bring him down. Like that is an invaluable trait of Lamar Jackson's that I think we'll probably see a whole lot more throughout this postseason, to be honest with you. Because we got some defensive lines coming up. You kind of alluded to the defensive line of the Bills and how they're no slouch either, even though their defense has been kind of inconsistent this season. They got guys on there. They got Greg Rousseau, like you said, Von Miller, Daquan Jones is there. Matt Milano's coming back for this matchup. There's a lot of different guys over there who can, potentially cause some trouble up front. And the fact that you have a quarterback who can kind of alleviate some of those pain points, it's like I said, it's invaluable. It's invaluable. But thank you so much again for the super chat donation, Jabari. We did have somebody gift a membership. Lisa
Yeah.
Marie in the house
Thank you.
gifted a Purple
Thank
Rain
you.
podcast membership. Thank you so much.
Thank
Gifted it to
you.
Killer Cam. So shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Killer
Thank
Cam.
you.
Love to see that.
Love that.
Officially part of the Rain Gang. We love it. We love to see it. We love to see it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move right along here. Let's take a look at the box score, right? Let's take a look and
Yeah.
see just some of the stats, and we'll kind of share a little bit more pieces of context after with that. So let me go ahead and bring this up to the screen.
Yeah, there we go.
You guys, all right. So full screen it right there, real quick. We'll just kind of run through this really quick. So Lamar Jackson, pretty easy, efficient day in the office. 16 for 21, 175 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, and then on the ground, 15 carries for 81 yards, averaging 5.4 a carry. And then of course you see Derrick Henry, 26 carries for a buck 86 and 2 touchdowns. That's averaging 7.2 a carry. Again, against a defensive line in the Steelers, who's very, very formidable, right? And not only that, this team knows us very, very well. But the fact that it didn't matter and we were still able to impose our will on the ground against this team, that's got to scare the hell out of any other team getting ready to face off with the Baltimore Ravens, including the Buffalo Bills, who are coming up next this Saturday. Again, we'll get into that a little bit later, but let me just run through the rest here.
Yeah.
Um, Steven Sims had a carry for 15 yards. Justice Hill had 6 carries for 12 yards. Mark Andrews, 2 for 5, had a couple tush push sneaks in there. Receiving, Isaiah Likely had 3 catches for 53 yards. This is a big kind of talking point the past weekend because, Zay Flowers being out, that being announced on, I think it was Thursday. We were trying to figure out who's going to get those receptions, who's going to get those targets. Isaiah Likely stepped up, 3 catches for 53, dribbles Cameron Sutton off of the field. That was just insane to see. I'm sure you saw that, and the crowd was going wild during that too. Mark Andrews, 2 for 27, kind of a quiet day for him. Relatively, Nelson Aguilar, 1 for 25. Bateman, 2 catches for 24 yards, and of course the touchdown. Tylan Wallace, a catch for 21 yards for a first down. That was actually a really good catch from him. I like what I saw from him. Justice Hill, 4 catches for 13 yards, and Anthony Miller, 3 catches for 12 yards. So looking at these numbers, and of course you being at the game, who are some people who kind of stood out to you on this list? Different plays they made.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Steven Sims number one. I thought he was horrific in the punt game, like just making bad decisions. But that one jet sweep call was perfect. Like I saw the report before. Patrick Queen said that the Steelers were going to have a hard time dealing with the who was going to be the pre-snap motion, because that's usually Zay Flowers. So we had Tylen Wallace was doing it, Steven Sims was doing it, Anthony Miller. But like the one time we give it to Sims, like he just busted around the corner, 15 yards, first down, like stuff like that was really big, just in sense of the whole game. And then I saw Anthony Miller had a couple of catches. I mean, they weren't anything crazy, but it was just catching the ball and just getting us yards. So I think one of them took us to like 4th and 1. We tush pushed it, got it. Stuff like that, it goes. It's not really a box score thing, but it's if you watch the game, you know how important it was. But I got to give it to Tylan Wallace real quick. 2nd and 20, Lamar just throws a sidearm to him on the sideline, has to make a great catch, stay in bounds, runs, goes up the field, puts his body on the line, and gets the first
Yeah.
down. And that was a drive where Derrick Henry went down there, had the 44-yard touchdown. We don't get that right there. Whole different game possibly we're talking about. So it just plays like that they really you can't measure it by just that one catch, 21 yards. It's just the situation it was in, and all of them there. Like there's nobody. We don't have the Jamar Chase of years past, or the Nico Collins who put up these crazy yards, Ladd McConkey who put up those big yards. But we have guys as a collective doing it without our number one receiver, and we ran the ball. So when you run the ball, we do. We don't have to have the big numbers on the in the air. So good win. I mean, 28 points and pedestrian numbers receiving wise. So overall, I mean, I'll take that any day and a comfortable win.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason why you're seeing these pedestrian numbers from the receivers is because of how much success we had on the ground. I mentioned it last week on the preview episode of the show. Derrick Henry was primed to get anywhere between 25 and 30 carries in this game, and he got 26. So I think I hit the mark on that one, and I
Yeah.
think that we're going to continue to see that going forward because that is the strength of this team. I saw somebody put in the chat a little bit earlier, Alex. They said, were you guys at all surprised that we did not get away from running the ball? You guys surprised that we actually stick to running the ball like we are supposed to? And I'm like, honestly, no. Honestly, no. I think that this was a big statement game, right? Going out against a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers who can stop the run, who knows this team very, very well, and just saying, like, we don't care about none of that. Like, we're still going to run it down your throat unless you stop it. And, oh, you're not stopping it? Okay, we're just going to keep doing it, right? We're just going to keep piling on you. That's demoralizing. I think we demoralized them early on in that game, especially like when you see Lamar Jackson, you get down the field, right? And then Lamar Jackson tosses it up, to Rashad Bateman for the touchdown. And then after that, you just get ran over for the rest of the game. That does something to your psyche. I'm telling you, that does something to your psyche, man. And that game was over, I think, in the second quarter. Right before halftime, we were up 21-0. That's a skunk. And I just think that coming out of the locker room, of course, they needed a spark. They started going to who did they hit for the touchdown? Was it Pickens? It was
They
Pickens.
hit
Yeah,
Van Jefferson for the first one.
Van Jefferson. Right. Van
Yeah.
Jefferson over Brandon Stevens, and I was really really upset with that one, to be honest with you. But what was your assessment of the defense as a whole? Right, because there were some
Yeah.
sacks, there were some guys who stepped up. But what was your assessment of the defense as a whole?
Can I track back to the whole running thing? Like, were we
Oh,
surprised?
sure. Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we weren't. I love the game plan. I see our guy Roosh is here. What's good, Ring Gang? What's going on, Roosh? And like I said, we were the game together, and we both were like, we are taking what they are giving us. Like, we love the game plan. We said this to each other multiple times. Like, we love what we are doing. We're just getting excited because, like, we weren't going away from who we were. We weren't throwing up dumb deep balls to Rashad Bateman. We weren't throwing it in double coverage because we needed it. We were just doing the short intermediate stuff that was working. 3rd and 4, Isaiah Likely for about 10 yards. He takes it for another 5 to 7 after the catch, stuff like that. The running game, 1st and 2nd down, we're running it with our guy who we signed for $20 million. Like, this is why you signed him. It's not, with no disrespect, it's not Gus Edwards. It's not you know those guys. It's Derrick freaking Henry.
Yeah,
So it just was very very nice. As for the defense, that first half, man, like we're playing as a team defensively. It's 11 men to the ball. Our Darius Washington, undrafted free agent, on a 3rd and short, throws it to their tight end. He has no business taking him down 1-on-1 in an open field, but he does, and he stops them as 4th and inches, and they go and punt it. It's plays like that. It's plays like Michael Pierce getting a sack because Marlon Humphrey blew up the play on a flea flicker. Like, it's mad. And I don't know. Arthur Smith is an awful OC. Flea flicker in the first quarter of a playoff game is insane. But guys like Matabika having 2 sacks, Owe having a sack. It's the defense playing as a collective team. I love it, and we can go as far as these guys take us, and the magic is there. We just got to keep on going with it.
yeah. No, I mean you're 100% right about that. Love West in the comments here. What's going on? Love West says, I don't want to be the party pooper, but why does Brandon Stevens still get playtime? I have not seen
Oh,
someone fall off this quick in 1 year. Cannot believe at one point I thought he was better than Marlon. I mean, yeah, that was definitely a couple people last season for sure.
yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough. He's getting picked on. He's on the right side of the field, of the quarterback field, and he gets picked on every time. I do want to give on that 3rd and 15, I think, right before they won the 4th down, whatever Zach Gore dialed up, or he may have been the 4th down, whatever he dialed up was beautiful. He took Pickens out of that play. It's like you have to go deep to Calvin Austin, or you're not getting anything. So credit to Zach Gore there. I thought his transition over the first half of the year to this half has been unreal as a coordinator. And let's hope he can hold on to him, for another year because them calls might be coming up depending how far we go.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think they will. Let me see. So we got 119 people watching live, 124, I'm sorry,
Oh,
watching live right now. Thank y'all so much for coming through. This is the Purple Rain Podcast. If you're watching on X, aka Twitter, whatever you want to call it, hello. Thank y'all for coming through. If you're watching on YouTube, hello to you as well. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We do go live every Monday and Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you stay tuned in, locked in to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Lots of good content coming your way for the remainder of this season and the off season. You guys know we do it in the off season too. No breaks over here. This is what we do. All right. So let's continue talking about this one, Alex. I think that another so I was listening today to John Harbaugh at the press conference, right? Because somebody actually asked him about Brandon Stevens, just kind of sticking with that for a second here. And he was like, he was basically asking him in so many words, like, why do you think that they're going to Brandon Stevens so much, and how do you think he's handled that so far? That's what he was pretty much asking Harbaugh, and Harbaugh said in so many words, he was like, "Oh, well, I don't really know. Like, teams they for some reason they do what they do. They want to go towards him. He's the right cornerback, like you said. He plays on that right side. Does there need to be an adjustment made there moving forward? Because honestly, when you look at the points that you would attack on this Ravens defense, that is probably the I don't want to say like the easiest point of attack or point of emphasis. But when I listen to a Josh Allen talk about after the game, like, yeah, I'll be looking at their defense real close, yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, they already know he's already had success against Brandon Stevens with the likes of Keon Coleman, a rookie, right, against him earlier this year. So I can only imagine on how many 3rd and longs, 3rd and 7 or more, right, we're gonna see a ball going up the sideline
yeah.
to Brandon Stevens' side of the field. So at what point, like I'm not saying like we're gonna go out there, we're gonna be down by second quarter or something like that against the Bills or something. We're kind of scrambling for answers, but again, man, at what point does an adjustment need to be made?
It's got to be soon. Like these every play counts that we've been saying, and it's obvious he's getting targeted every single time. Think about, let's say, Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper against him. What is he going
Yeah,
to do? Like I know Wiggins got beat against Pickens. I mean, I'm not too mad at that. He's a rookie. But as for Stevens, man, and like I think Rush said it here, like Hamilton was right in his ear. After that play, and I put out there on Twitter how 21 has to get off the team, and I got chirp saying you need to, it should have been Hamilton's. That was his zone, this and that, and yeah, but it's like we're acting like this is like lockdown Brandon Stevens. No, this has been all year. There's been no improvement. So something's got to give, and I don't think he will get benched. I Unfortunately, I think this is why we were in for Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline. I mean, I don't think you're not out there to go get another corner like that to be behind Brandon Stevens. All due respect, you wanted Humphrey and Lattimore as your two guys, and that's how it is. So he's gonna have the big X on his back until further notice, and every single talk show is talking about it. So you have to do something. You got to show up.
yeah, yeah. Got to show up, man, because the going is going to get tough here real soon, right? We're getting ready to go up against the Bills. After that, more than likely, I would say, surprise, surprise, the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. If we were to beat the Bills, of course, one game at a time, but you got some quarterbacks, some very, very talented quarterbacks on the call sheet that are lined up, for the rest of the season. So you gotta make sure that you're on your P's and Q's. And of course, this is talking to Brandon Stevens because man, it would just suck. And I kind of feel for him in a lot of different ways because
Yeah,
like, bro, he's been struggling And like teams know that, so they're going to purposely go after him and give him more opportunities to struggle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you're playing well, they try to play away from you, so you don't have to worry about that. But like that's another thing that Harbaugh was saying. Like, if teams are targeting you, that means that there's more opportunities, quite simply, for you to give up receptions, and that just is what it is. But man, it's just the ball skills for him. It's the ball skills because a lot of times, like we always say, like he's step for step with a lot of these guys, but getting his head around and actually making a play on the ball is just something that he has not excelled at all this season, and it's really hurt him. It's really hurt him. It's really hurt the defense and just the team overall. So hopefully he can turn it around. But at some point, like you said, I think sooner rather than later, a change does need to be made if that is something that we can't, because you don't
Yeah.
want, and like I understand people saying Kyle Hamilton, like it was his zone, it was his fault, but like, do you really expect Kyle Hamilton to like baby that side of the field? Like Kyle Hamilton is a free range player. He's more of like closer to like an Ed Reed. He always wants to be around the ball, around the play. And that's why I love the fact that they moved him back to deep safety because he can kind of be that roam around guy, and not necessarily having to be glued to that Brandon Stevens side of the football, just making sure that the play doesn't go that way. So I think they would just open him up a little bit more. And I think that's probably where the frustration came from Kyle Hamilton after that one, because we know Kyle Hamilton, he's a very smart player. And I don't doubt the same for Brandon Stevens or really anybody on that defense, to be honest with you. But, at the end of the day, I think that Kyle Hamilton feels like he's got an extra responsibility, right, when it comes to Brandon Stevens' side of the football. And I think that kind of hinders the defense in a way. So,
Yeah, I think it was frustration because it was, I think 21-0 at that point. Like, imagine having a shutout against your biggest rival. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that. I think that is kind of where a lot of frustration stem right there because now you're just upset because your shutout's gone. But you wanted so bad. So Stevens really has to step up because I mean I know it's Pickens and Pickens made that great play on the sideline, but how many times are you gonna burn by the same guy?
yeah,
And what sucks for him, it's a contract year. If he played how he did last year, this year, he'd be making a good amount of coin next year. But as of right now, I don't know what his market is. I don't know if you can look at last year and say, well, maybe that was the one-off year where he was really, really good and he went back to an average corner. But I don't know where his future lies. Maybe it's here. Who knows? Maybe they have a lot of faith in him. I genuinely don't know. But we'll have to see. And hopefully he can step up for these next 3 games.
yeah, for sure. Because I'll say this, I mean, going into the Bills matchup next week is it's going to be interesting because I think that like you said, it might snow. It might
Mm-hmm.
snow. So I do think that they'll lean more towards going heavy and trying to run the ball and trying to like bully us in that way and try to give us a taste of our own medicine to kind of even the playing field, I guess you could say. The Bills yesterday, what they did a lot was they used an extra down lineman, right, to kind of bolster their run game. And I think against us, it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge like on both sides of the ball, but I think we're up to that challenge, man. So it really comes down to this for me, and this is kind of like my um early key to victory for the rest of this playoffs, really, but especially this Bills game, man. Demoralize them early from running the ball. Like don't put them in a situation where they feel like they have to go back to the Bills of old, where they're just throwing it 30, 40 times a game, and that's their only path to victory, right? Josh Allen, yes, he is their MVP, right? The Buffalo Bills MVP. He's the most valuable player on that team, like just by leaps and bounds, right? Not to say like make him beat you, because of course he can beat you. Like he's a phenomenal player, but you know it kind of reminds me of that Week 4 matchup when Josh Allen got to a point in that game where he felt like he had to kind of just run around and make things happen, and he got a little bit desperate. And that's when we had that one up along the sideline where Kyle Van Noy gets the strip, and then Travis Jones, I think, hits him real hard, and that really rung his bell right there. Um, I would want it to get to a point like that, and how do you do that? You do that by holding the ball, right? Dominating time of possession. The Bills dominated time of possession over the Broncos yesterday. It was a very, very wide margin. I think by at least like 15 minutes. It was bad. It was bad. So if you hold the ball, stay on the field on third downs, that'll force that offense to get a little bit more desperate when they do get on the field. They'll stop trying to control the line of scrimmage and really like, get things going with the run, and they'll be more desperate with the pass. And I think that can be our opportunity to catch maybe one of those arm punts that Josh Allen is so talented at and amazing at. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that is my assessment of that. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. I wanted you guys to join the conversation. Killer Cam in here says, take out James Cook, and I am very confident we win. Yeah, man. Again, early in that game, they're going to try to get James Cook involved because if they can, that would be a huge win. That would be a huge win for them because what does that mean? That means that they can keep Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry off the field as much as possible. We are one of those teams. This is one of those weapons in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry where you just simply have to possess the ball. You have to possess the football longer, and staying on the field on third downs is just crucial. And the Ravens are not a huge passing team, like you saw. Lamar Jackson just threw 16 for 21, a buck 75, 2 touchdowns. Very efficient game, right? But they're a run first team. So if you can't keep them off the field, and they're keeping you off of the field because they're running the football all down your throat like all game, like it's 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 a tough team to beat. It's a tough team to beat. So I know for a fact that the Bills are going to come out there and they're going to try to establish James Cook. And I agree with you, Killer Cam, man. Their running backs are their main weapon, says Cam. They're going to need him. They're going to need him. You know, I think guys like Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman will try to get involved as well. What are you going to say though, Alex?
Yeah, talking about their offense, Shakir worries me as that yards after catch because he can just find the hole in the middle and nobody's around him. And even Curtis Samuel yesterday, like I mean, the Broncos defense. I'm not gonna say it's bad by any means, but there's a reason why we put up 40 points on them. You gotta
Right.
look and see who they were playing. With all due respect, like they're gonna be probably in the playoffs again next year, but they got to mature and go through these growing pains, and that's fine. But I'm looking at their defense now. Uh, I know it's a big talking point online, and I'll address it. Yes, no Matt Milano last time they played. No Teron Johnson. No Terrell Bernard. I respect that 100%. Those are three key pieces to their defense. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not going to have a big impact in this game. So it's not going to be easy. And the same way you said we have to stop James Cook, they're saying the same thing about Derrick Henry. I've seen stuff saying you take out Derrick Henry and the Ravens will lose. And right, I mean, we're undefeated when he gets 90 yards rushing. So I'm not saying it's the truth, but it is a huge key. If you can stop Derrick Henry, we are not undefeated anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see how Tom Munkin can draw up, plays for him, can draw up some more disguises, more motions to confuse these guys. Because now we have a week of tape without Zay Flowers. So let's see,
Mm,
what they can dial up. And I still think we have a better defense, and I think our offense is good, even without Zay. And I don't think he'll play Sunday. I'll just say it right now. So I'm going into the week acting like as he won't play. So what are we gonna do with this? Lamar, Derrick Henry, look at you pass catchers, likely Andrews, big games, and I mean more than two or three catches because they'll be putting up a hell of a better fight than what the Steelers put up. And what receivers going to come up big in the end zone, especially in the red zone. I think Tylan Wallace came up big with his catch, and then Bateman's touchdown was big on 3rd and 12, by the way. So
yeah.
we need more guys to step up. It's that time now.
And I think that when it comes to our run game, again, just kind of sticking with that for a minute here, I think our run game is really evolving. That's the scariest part about it. And like in this playoffs, you mentioned at the top of the episode that Wildcat Derrick Henry. Like how often do we see that? And it's just like that's tape again, where the Ravens introduced a new wrinkle to their run game, right? And brand new for the playoffs, right? No Zay Flowers. That makes it a lot harder to prepare for if you're the Buffalo Bills this week and you're Bobby Babbage trying to get prepared for your defense to stop this Ravens offense because you know, okay, what are we going on? Zay Flowers might be back. I mean, like you said, there's a very good chance that he won't play again. I think that this time around he will probably be a game time decision. I know what last week Harbaugh was talking about, he'll be getting ramped up next week, that sort of thing. So we'll see if he plays. We do play Sunday night, so I think that is another advantage, just an extra day to get him out there. But man, it's gonna be very very difficult for anybody to stop. And like I really do understand what you were saying when you're talking about guys like Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano. They're gonna have a big impact on this game, and you're damn right about that. You're gonna hear their names called a lot. And you want to know why? Because those guys are going to be assigned Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry respectively, right? It's going to be one of those games. I mean, you have to do that. You have to do that when you have these read options between these quarterbacks and these running backs. You have to make sure that there's somebody accounting for each weapon that's in that backfield. You know, the question is, it's kind of going to feel like a 2-on-2. You know what I mean? Like, can Lamar Jackson beat one of those guys to the outside? Can Derrick Henry, like, can Todd Monken call up a game where, he's kind of throwing the Buffalo Bills off. He's throwing off their defensive line, and he's throwing off those edge rushers, those read defenders on the edge, on the outside, and what they should do, get them second guessing themselves. If that happens, man, it's gonna be it's either gonna go that way, or the Bills are gonna understand it really, really well, right? And they're going to come out and try to punch the Ravens in the mouth, and they're gonna stop a couple of drives. They're gonna kill a couple of drives. They might score some points, and they're gonna gain some confidence, right? And then after that, you know, the Ravens offense might get desperate. It can go either way. It can go either way. These are two very, very talented teams. But I do think it's gonna be very, very difficult to stop the tandem of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Todd Monken, who is evolving this run game still to this day.
Yeah. And that's a great point you make. If we go down, you can't sit there and get desperate, especially in the first half. You can't sit there and start, just throwing deep passes like 5, 10 yard routes, first downs. Even if it's 10-0 or a 10 point game, like there's still a lot of time left to score, 10 points. So I just don't want us to panic, and I don't know why we're talking about that because I don't think it's gonna happen. But I'm looking forward to see how this team can just play. This offense again can play without the prospect of Zay Flowers. What else do you have for us, Mr. Munkin? What other cracks do you have? What other things you have up your sleeve? What cards you got up your sleeves? And Godly Creation says it here. Not having Zay Flowers for that game was the best thing to happen. Buffalo has to look at the whole team. No one expected the no-name players to make a contribution. Just more to think about. I mean, like this. Let's be real. If you would have told me that Anthony Miller would have 3 catches and we win 28-14, I wouldn't have believed you. Even if we take the score away, 3 catches for Anthony Miller. Okay, we would have been losing then because that means we have to throw, right? No, like
Right.
we were
Yeah.
up. Stuff like that. It's just very surprising. Mark Andrews 2 catches. I would have thought he went four to
Very
five.
quiet. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a good game. We have a lot to talk about on Thursday about that, though. We have a whole preview to talk about that. I know one thing. I will not be mentioning a certain 3-letter race. I'm tired of it. Voting is over. This game doesn't matter, by the way. No more talking about it. It's over. It's voted for. So you don't have to bring it up. It's a fun fact.
Oh
It's
yeah,
already
it is
voted
voted
for.
for. The votes are already in for MVP.
Yeah.
Forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, they are still saying. I saw some people saying on X, so this game is gonna be for the MVP or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know about that. It shouldn't be, at least, right? It shouldn't be. But let me see what else you guys are saying here. Steve OW says the Bills will have an 8-man box all game. They are traumatized. Yeah, man. Last time out, I think what Derrick Henry ran for what, a $1.99 on the Bills, and just torched them. It was insane to watch. And of course, he had that big run that he ripped off on the very first Ravens play of the game. But yeah, I think they are going to stack the box pretty heavily. I think that they are going to probably play, a lot in their base defense, probably 4-3, 4 down linemen, just making sure that all the gaps are plugged. Right. That's probably how they're going to go. And for the Ravens, it's just so many different, like I said, wrinkles in this evolving run game, and that's why I loved what I saw against the Steelers. I loved, the creativity that we were bringing out, and just really like the sleight of hand, and the um, also the not the what's the word? They weren't shy on running Lamar Jackson, right? They weren't shy on running Lamar Jackson at all. He had 15 carries. I want to say maybe what, 10 design runs or something like that. They were getting him out there, and I love to see that too because it keeps the defense honest, quite literally. Like, you're gonna have to pick your poison whether or not you want to shut down Derrick Henry or you want to stop Lamar Jackson around the edge. And you can see what TJ Watt's assignment was all night. It was to chase Derrick Henry no matter what, hit Derrick Henry, whether he gets the ball or not, don't take the chance, right? And then there's a linebacker who swings over and replaces him in that spot to try to stop Lamar Jackson, just in case Lamar pulls it. But there's just so many things that they added to the mechanics of it, right? To the mechanics of it, just to make it so I don't know, man. It just seems like the linebackers, they're always guessing themselves. The DBs and the linebackers on that second level, they're always second guessing themselves, and that's what allows Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson to get to that second level. And Derrick Henry is the most devastating when he gets to that second level, of course, because when you run by the linebackers and there's just DBs there. You saw what happened to Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen literally he was just too late, like mentally,
Yeah.
he was too late, and that happens to a lot of guys, right? Happened to them earlier this season, right? Against Derrick Henry in week 4. So the Bills have their work cut out for them. Like I said, Bobby Babbage, their defensive coordinator, he's got his work cut out for him in terms of how he plans to kind of stifle this Ravens run game, because right now it is looking very, very lethal. And that team looks very locked in. And we're not even really talking about the pass game, and say if we get Zay Flowers back, and I think Isaiah likely will continue to get his catches. Mark Andrews is going to have a big game at some point. He's going to get his. Um, so I don't know, man. I just think as long as this offense does what they do, and they just stay on the field, on third down. That's my biggest key to victory. Stay on the field.
Yeah. Let's just do a little trivia right now. Who was
Sure.
the Ravens' leading receiver against the Bills in Week 4? A lot's changed.
Yeah, you're right. A lot has changed. Leading receiver. Are we talking pass catchers, like so tight ends included, or no?
Yeah, anything. Pass catchers, tight ends, all that.
It wasn't Zay, was it?
Zay had 1 catch for 10 yards.
Right. He didn't do anything that game. Who was it?
Justice Hill, 6 receptions,
Oh,
78 yards.
yeah. And he had that touchdown over the top. I remember that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
This the game in Week 4 reminded me of like yesterday a lot. I mean, on Saturday. Um, let's
You're
just go
right.
down. Bateman, 1 catch, 23 yards. Likely 1 catch, 26 yards. Andrews, no catches, 1 target. Aguilar, 2 catches, 10 yards. Um, Henry, 3 catches, 10 yards. I don't think that this game will be the same like Saturday, or that like we're gonna have somebody step up receiving wise, and it can't be just Justice Hill. It's gonna have to be receiver. It may have to be Bateman, likely, or Andrews, one of those guys, because I expect it to be a closer game. I expect points to be put up, but we need one of our guys to seriously step up in these big moments. Uh, let's say we're down and we need that drive. It's third and 7. Who's going to come up? We've been talking about this for how many years? Who's going to be that guy on 3rd and 7 that Lamar
Yeah,
can trust?
yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
mean,
but we it seems like we've got those guys. I mean, like
yeah.
I have faith in Rashad Bateman to be that guy. I have faith in Zay Flowers. We've seen him do. We've seen him close it. Remember, he
You know
closed it
what?
against the Cowboys.
Third
Like
and
it's
third and what? He goes on a slant against Joey Porter Jr., a very physical receiver, and people will label Bateman as soft. And what happens? He won it. He got the
yeah,
first down. He moved the chains.
yeah, man,
That was big.
yeah. So I mean, like you said, I mean, it is going to be very interesting to see who does step up in that pass game, because the Bills are going to sell out to try to stop the run. If there's anything that you would rather have the Ravens doing, it's throwing the ball. And it's crazy to say in 2025, like, oh, make Lamar a thrower, make him pass, but like that is just kind of like in a net, looking at it way, like that's the lesser of two evils. Because Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, that tandem is the best running combo in the league. We can point to other more deadly quarterback to wide receiver combos right now in the league, other than what we've got going on here in the Ravens. But Lamar Jackson, again, is so damn talented. It really doesn't matter what you make him do. He is the best thrower against pressure, the best thrower against the blitz this season. He's got a really good completion percentage. He's got the most, well, almost the most touchdown passes. I think he's top 3 in touchdown passes this season. Uh, so if you want to make him throw, make him throw. But again, somebody is going to have to step up. It's going to be cold, like you said. It might snow. This is a game where we need hands, right? The hands team needs to show up. I remember the last time we played Buffalo in 2021, there were a lot of drops, right? There were a lot of drops by different guys. And that's something that we can ill afford here, because drops are drive killers, right? Drops are absolute drive killers, especially if you consider the fact that, they stop the clock, you lose a down, right? And you get that much closer to punting the football back to your opponent and letting them do what they want with it. And like we saw yesterday, the Bills are really concerned about time of possession this postseason, as they really wanted to hold the ball against the Broncos, especially after that first explosive play by Bo Nix. After that, the Bills really held the ball for a long time. They were running the hell out of it. So, stop the runs on first and second downs. I think that the Bills will commit to the run early, and as long as we can shut that down, like, excuse me, like my guy Killer Cam said earlier, you shut that down early, and you turn the Bills into a one-dimensional, kind of like force them to throw, right?
Yeah.
Uh, that type of team. So there we go.
Yeah, we've been talking about this game. So I know I mentioned, that there are 3 starters, Bernard, Teron Johnson, the pick six against Lamar in 2021, and then Milano. But let's take just a trip back to Week 4. Like I said, a lot has changed, and I'm not going to judge that game with this game, 2 different teams. But
Mhm.
Things have changed, and to me, this is a whole different season. This is like playing we played you guys last year, playing you guys this year. The Ravens team in Week 4, Michael Pierce was out. Patrick McCarty's first start at left guard. Roger Rosengarten's first career start at right tackle. Linderbaum was questionable that game. 32nd pass ranked defense. Marcus Williams was our starting free safety, not Rodarius Washington, and Tre'Davious White was not a Raven. I'm not saying Trey White is an all-pro by any means. Small stuff like that can make the difference in this game. See, I think Roosh said it earlier. Former Bill, he might know some Josh Allen tendencies. Not saying it's going to make a worldly difference, but it can help out one player. Help out one play. Who knows what that play is? But these teams are really different. I'm not going to judge a Week 4 game on this. We know the teams are different. They had a better record than us for a reason in the regular season. They beat the Chiefs. We couldn't. So let's see how this all goes, and we'll have a whole episode Thursday to preview this.
Yeah.
Probably the best game of the weekend, to be honest.
Oh, not even probably that. I mean, 100% is going to be the best game of the weekend. I mean, we're talking about the two leading MVP candidates. Like the storylines for this one are just crazy. Like we've been Bills fans and Ravens fans have been pit against each other for the past month. It seems like, almost to the point where like that Week 4 matchup, it just seems like so long ago. Like we need to have another matchup. Like we need to go at it again just to kind of like settle this, right? And it's absolute cinema. I'm sure the NFL wouldn't have it any other way. This is
Yeah.
perfect for them. But D Banks puts it here. I think I really like this point. Says we need our defense to create some turnovers against the Bills. We should have had at least 2 picks and a pick 6 last time we played them. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big one for me, of course. I think that, again, in a game where time of possession and which MVP level quarterback has the ball is going to be, which one has it more is going to be, determinant of who wins that game, you
Yeah.
know. And for the Ravens to have it more, you got to get Josh Allen and that offense off of the field whenever you can. So forcing those turnovers and protecting the football on our side is going to be just crucial, simply crucial, So I definitely want to see some turnovers forced, though.
Yeah. It's for me one of the big things is kind of like a key already to Thursday is our defensive line. Um, Not really biting and not allowing him to scramble outside. Close that pocket in on him. I know they have a good offensive line, but we need our guys. Justin Matabika, or Namdi Matabika. We paid you 100 mil for this reason. Travis Jones, we're looking at you for this reason. Kevin, I need to see more from Van Noy. I want to sack this game. I need another sack. I need
Yeah,
some sacks from my guys. I need another one from Owe. We got to get pressure on him. Make him feel like he has to play hero ball, like you mentioned.
yeah.
Like I said, we'll talk about it Friday, an hour on Thursday. But as of right now, I'm feeling good about Sunday. I really am. We're gonna have to play a perfect game, damn near perfect, and we have to play perfect this game, next game, and the game after that. So one at a time.
But this
And
is what we wanted. This is what we
this
wanted. We
this
wouldn't
is
want it any
I
other way,
wanted to play the
man.
Bills. I
Yeah,
wanted this is probably the hardest matchup for us. Some people can say this is the best team in the AFC because they beat the Chiefs. So
yeah,
let's do it. Let's dance.
exactly. And just kind of talking about the sacks that you were just touching on. Guys like Matabike, guys like Owe, Van Noy need to step up in this one. Not only do they need to get pressure, but like finishing the sacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Josh Allen is going to be a much tougher quarterback to bring down than a Russell Wilson. I mean, that's just or a Dorian Thompson Robinson or a Bailey Zappi, who we've played in the past couple of weeks, right? This is Josh Allen. This is a big guy. You're not going to be able to really get to him with arm tackles, swing him down with arm tackles, things like that. You have to wrap him up, and just put this guy on the ground. Get this guy on the ground, man. Like you can't let him extend plays because just like how Lamar Jackson is so dangerous when you let him extend plays, Josh Allen can do the same exact thing. In fact, he did it in Week 4. He did it in Week 4 at least once up the sideline. He threw it deep, which is a great throw. And he completed it because he got out of the pocket, right? Escape the pressure. Got my guy Bradley in the house. Says hi. Hi, Bradley.
Real.
Appreciate you for coming
That's so
through.
real.
Appreciate you. I
That's so
know.
real.
I love it. I
Um,
love it.
KP says Chiefs to the hardest matchup. I agree. Mentally hardest matchup. I just think that you got to get over that just in your head. It's like, what can we do to beat these guys? And that's why I
Right.
want to see him next week. Honestly, like so to me, I wanted to play the Chargers first. I think we can maybe transition to talk about the other playoff games real quick.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
wanted the
Yeah. Yeah.
Chargers for Lamar to avenge that 2018 loss. But you know what? Steelers first round, he's been awful against them. I'm gonna just be honest. You go through all the games he's played, he hasn't been good. Yeah, his receivers drop passes, but past 2 games, he's been dynamite. No turnovers. I mean, he had that pick in week 16. I mean, no turnovers, no strip sacks, and now you go to the Bills, who, yeah, he lost them in the playoffs in 2021, concussion. Got to fight that demon now, divisional. So just one step at a time. We take a little piece off of the dragon at once. We stab the dragon once. We got to stab it, take an arm off this time, all right, before we go for the head. But take the arm off now, Lamar. You can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree. 146 people watching live. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode 292, the Nadi Matabike episode. Hello, Dinata, all those guys. That episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Make sure you like the video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe as well if you are new. We'd appreciate that. If you're watching on X, which I know a lot of you are watching on X, again, hello, welcome to the show. Maybe consider at some point popping over to our YouTube channel, hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton, especially if you are enjoying the content you're listening to. Okay, but like my guy Alex said, let's go ahead and just talk about some of the other matchups that we saw from this wild card weekend. We actually have a game coming on here soon. The Vikings and the Rams are getting ready to play to finish out wild card weekend. But some of the other ones we saw. So the Texans, of course, knocking off the Chargers. Uh, the Texans actually look really good in this game. The Chargers did not at all. Justin Herbert, 4 picks in this one. I didn't have the final score. What was the final score for that one?
I think they scored 12 points. A Greg Roman masterclass.
Yeah, literally.
It
Embarrassing.
was 32-12. Now,
Yikes.
I didn't know. I watched the first half of this game because we watched the tailgate. Went in the stadium. Lines were long to get in, as you can imagine. I get in. I see Lad McConkey scored an 86-yard touchdown. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, probably a good game. I'll turn it on my phone at my seat. I checked the score again. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a blowout. This game's over. And I sat back and thought, I'm like, Gregory Roman. The Harbaugh sometimes just don't learn.
No.
How many points did we put up against the Titans in 2019? 12. How many points did we average with Greg Roman as offensive coordinator in the playoffs? I believe 13 points average in those couple of games.
Mm.
If it smells like one, if it sounds like one, it most likely is one.
Yeah. They should have listened. They totally should have listened on that one. I don't know what Jim Harbaugh was really thinking having a quarterback as talented as a Justin Herbert is. Because I mean, the guy is talented. He's got the arm talent. He's got the arm strength. Of course, he still doesn't have any playoff wins, and that's another story for another day. But the guy's got some talent behind him. So I think that getting him with a coordinator who could kind of elevate his passing game would have been a lot more beneficial. I mean, you got the backs to do it. Like, just get him a guy like the Ravens got Lamar. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought they had chances in the first half. The Texans were like, they just weren't doing anything. It felt like they had chances to move the ball down the field, and I mean, I know Herbert threw 4 picks. I think one or two probably should have been caught. Welcome to the life of Lamar Jackson under Greg Roman. I mean, interceptions that should have been caught by your receivers. Um, J.K. Guys couldn't run the ball. Herbert was left one dimensional, just like Lamar. Right, Tanja? We tried to tell him. I mean, we tried to tell him. D Banks Chargers about to pay Higgins $30 million. Does he want to go there? I saw the Packers are in for him. I think that'd be a good landing spot for him. They could use a receiver like him because their guys are dropping like flies. But then again, he does fit the bill
Yeah.
of receivers with soft tissue I word. So I don't know. But yeah, Giro probably has some dirt on Jack to wear something to keep hiring him. That's funny. That's some good stuff.
That is
So that
hilarious.
was that was the first game. Obviously,
Yeah.
we were the second game. Moving on to yesterday.
Yes.
Obviously, Bills Broncos. Not really much of a game.
Thought
I'd
it was going to
say.
be a game early
Thought
on. Bo
thought.
Nix deep ball to who was it? Marvin Mims? Was it Mims?
No, Troy
Was
Franklin,
down
I
there?
think, from
Troy
Oregon.
Franklin.
Troy
That's right.
Franklin.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. They go down there, they get that score, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be off to the races. Bo Nix is about to go toe to toe with Josh Allen in Buffalo. This is going to be absolute get your popcorn ready level stuff. And then after that, I mean, like I said, the Bills just really decided to start to hammer them with the run game, hold the ball, control, dominate time of possession, and the rest was history. Not Lamar, but Josh Allen went down. He made some important plays. It was that 4th and 1 to Ty Johnson. Did you think that
Yeah.
that was a touchdown or no?
I don't know what a catch is anymore, with all due respect.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems so subjective, right?
Because, like, Johnny Smith had the catch against us, and, like, his left butt cheek was in, and now that's, like, the same as 2 feet. I'm like, but his other half of his butt was touching out of bounds. You know what I mean? I was just confused at like what. And then like Ravens fans trying to compare to Likely. Likely's foot was out of bounds. Like that's not a catch. I'm not disagreeing with that, but like I just don't know what a catch is anymore. You know. And then there was all if the foot taps twice, that's not a catch. It's just 2 feet touchdown. You know what I mean? Like 2 feet touchdown, but it can't be that simple.
Yeah, because in that one, that one with Ty Johnson on that 4th and 1, I mean, he goes up and he's like scooping the ball, before it hits the turf, and like his back ankle, like his left ankle, like taps out of bounds before he like really controls the ball, survives the ground, which is another rule, because the ball moved a little bit. I don't think it ever really hit the turf, but he didn't have full control over it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I still like in real time, I was like, I'm not gonna because they ruled touchdown on the field. So I
yeah,
felt like it wasn't going to be, enough conclusive evidence for them to overturn it. So I was cool with them, keeping it a touchdown.
yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, overall, that game was just absolute, just domination from the Bills. And the time of possession was I actually have the numbers pulled up here: 41 minutes and 7 seconds for the Bills to the
Wow.
Broncos, 18 minutes and 17 seconds. Just insane, man. The Bills 210 rushing yards. Passing for 261, pretty balanced game from them. But again, it's the rushing yards. And
Yeah,
I don't know if that run game is going to be something that they're able to replicate against this Ravens defense. We'll see. It's going to be a test. It's going to be a challenge. I think they're going to try early because that is their recipe to, beating anybody in these playoffs, honestly. Establishing that run because I know they don't want Josh Allen playing hero ball, especially against a team as talented as the Ravens and maybe even like the Chiefs, something like that. So
yeah.
yeah. So that was the second game, or the third game rather. And then after that, we had Eagles taking on the Packers and kind of shutting them down 22-10 in this one. And there was some like a little bit of remnants today that I heard about, people having it out for Jordan Love a little bit in a few different ways. Like, oh, he's too much of a gunslinger. He's got an arrogant arm, right? He's throwing it all over the place, thinking he can just, and the Eagles kind of knew that. So they were sitting on some of these routes. And I don't know, man. What was your thoughts on that game?
That game was the longest. That game felt like it was going on for like 10 hours. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like it would not end. Um, I not gonna slant. I mean, Jordan Love could have played better. Yes. With that being said, he had like no receivers to throw to, and I thought on the Quinyon Mitchell interception, I thought there was PI there, but maybe they deemed it uncatchable, kind of like the Isaiah Likely interception. Like he was damn near getting tackled before the ball was there, but he probably would have made a play on the ball. That he neither here nor there. Probably wouldn't have changed the game. But they got to get him some help. Watson's out for the year, probably a good part of next year as well. Can you trust on Tavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, and
Yeah,
Romeo Dobbs? Like, are we gonna are we gonna do that? It just doesn't feel like it's. I mean, you got Josh Jacobs, great. I like the tight ends. I like Kraft, but outside of that, I need to see more. So you got to help him out receiving wise. So
that's gonna be one of those teams, the Packers, who go for one of those free agent signings this
yeah,
season.
that's what I said. I think
Yeah,
Higgins would.
Higgins, yeah,
Only thing with that though is that division is stacked compared to like a. I saw someone mention the Panthers, which not a bad shout considering their division really isn't that good. We're going to
yeah,
the Commanders to pair it with Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown. I think that'd be a really good trio.
right, yeah, yeah. Um, and we'll get to those Commanders in just a second here, but Tanja says Jalen Hurts was looking crazy. He had all day to throw and was just standing in the pocket so long. Was he seeing the field even? 3 takeaways and 10 points. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I saw had it out for Jalen Hurts today too, saying that he's not really performing on the same level as, you know, maybe the Super Bowl run a couple of years ago. And I don't know, what's your assessment on Jalen Hurts? Because some people say that he's not as good, he's overrated. I've always liked Jalen Hurts' game. I
Yeah,
think it's very patient. I think it's very poised, but he does lack a little bit of that X factor that you would like
yeah.
to have. But what do you think?
I like Jalen Hurts. I do. I liked him at Oklahoma. I love his story. I'm giving him a pass for yesterday. It was his first game in a couple of weeks. Like there was rust. Like the same way Lamar didn't look good in the first half against the Texans. Like there's rust. So
Yeah,
he won. So I'll judge him off of next week. I'll be honest with you, but he won a playoff game, and I'm not gonna get too mad at him for winning a playoff game because a lot of quarterbacks in this league haven't won one yet. Justin Herbert hasn't won one yet. Trevor Lawrence hasn't won one yet. First round
Trevor Lawrence
picks.
has one.
I'm sorry, yes. He came back as Herbert.
He-
Um,
yeah,
but I'll give him a pass there. I just think it was rushed. I think it was
Yeah,
rushed
I
because
agree.
I
I
saw
think
him put up how many touchdowns? Like he against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he did everything he could.
oh, he was toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes that night. I don't know
Yeah,
what got into him. He was really good that night. So maybe they'll turn it around. I don't know. I mean, I would love to see a Bird Bowl. I would love to get back
yeah,
in the Super
I
Bowl.
want
One
that.
game at a time, but like
I
that
want
would be
that.
awesome. And I think that the Eagles they actually match up really well with the Ravens, especially considering just their defensive line. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and those boys on the defensive line makes it really hard for the Ravens to run their operation that they do. So yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to the Eagles. I don't have no problems with the Eagles, no quarrels with them.
yeah.
I would love to see them
Just their
back in the Super
fans.
Bowl, man. Yeah,
Their fans are a
exactly.
bit
They can
bit
be a little
raunchy.
rough. They can be
Yeah,
a little rough for
yeah.
sure, for sure. But okay,
Ah,
last game. So of
take it
course
away.
there
Take it
was
away.
the Commanders and the Buccaneers, man, and I watched this one pretty much the whole entire way through, all the way to the end. Lots of little tidbits I took away from this one. Number one, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury were being aggressive as hell on these fourth downs. They went for it so many different times on fourth down, and a lot of times they weren't getting it. And I was like not understanding why they weren't taking the points, you know. And it was in spots where like they were down by like a touchdown, something like that. So like they wanted to like stay on the field, try to get that touchdown, tie it up, that sort of thing. But it's like, bro, you got to take these points when you can get them at some of these some of these fourth downs because points come at a premium in the playoffs. And against a team like the Lions next week, they might make you pay. I think the Lions will score more than 20 points, right? And you'll be looking back thinking like, okay, why didn't we take the points? We'd have had a lead by now. We'd only been down 3 going into, the final drive, whatever. So I didn't really like that, but again, it did end up paying off at the end. Jaden Daniels, man, he looks like he's gonna be really damn good in this league. And I think we all knew that like pretty much all season long. I mean, the guy's been performing having a hell of a rookie season, but to have a performance like that in the playoffs and do what he did down the stretch, like he made the play, he made the final play. What was it like fourth and one?
Mhm.
I want to say it was, and like he's scrambling out and he's running the ball, trying to take it up the right side of the field, and he's already got a guy in his face, like in his grill, like wrapping him up, and he stiff arms him, gets away from him, and gets 5 yards up the field to get back to the line of scrimmage and then pick up the first down. I'm just like, bro, that's special right there. That's special right there. And I love what I saw from that team. The kicker last night, Zane Gonzalez, barely made that last kick. He was fixing his hair like 8 to
Yeah.
12 times before the kick. Lots of dramatics in that one. But what did you think of it?
So I fell asleep at halftime. I'll be honest. What I will say though is they should owe Marcus Mariota a thank you card to Week 18. The way they came back and beat the Cowboys for not having to go into Philly and play them. I know the Packers lost well, but that was a good matchup for them against the Bucks. But I personally, I have a soft spot for the Lions. I think the Commanders match up well with Detroit. That defense, like I said, it's banged up. It's really banged up. I want to see what they can do against a running quarterback like Jaden Daniels. A dual threat guy. I would love to see how they can stop him, but I'm not saying they pulled the upset off, but it's going to be a closer game, I think, than most people think. It just depends how that Commanders defense can fare up against the golf. My shootout, I could definitely see it. I might be taking the over for whenever they play. But Jaden Daniels, you have my respect. I mean, baller, scary Terry having his playoff game. Good for him. Just
Right.
all together, it's a feel good story. So I'm happy for new ownership. Their fans
Zach
deserve this. They really
Ertz
do.
doing what he's doing so
They
late in his
deserved it.
career.
Now
Love it.
imagine this. Imagine Commanders Eagles NFC Championship.
Mm. Yeah. That'd be entertaining. That'd be entertaining as hell right there. Lots of fanfare. I can already imagine for that one. Of course, in Philly. Um, man, I can only imagine. Just wow.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. But I don't know. I do still that Lions matchup, and you make a good point. They are banged up to hell on that Lions team right now. And the Commanders are flying high the way that they are. Their offense is doing what they're doing. But I don't know, man. I still like what they've got in Goff and Gibbs, and what they got on that offense. It just seems like it's been too much for a lot of different teams this season.
Yeah.
I would love to see if the Commanders can keep pace with them, because I think that offense can still be explosive. Of course, I'm on Ross St. Brown out there and
Mm.
those boys too. So
JMO, he's gonna
yeah,
have a deep play. It's gonna and the Laporta. It's gonna be hard for them. But yeah, so
very tough.
tonight we
Yeah,
have the Vikings and the Rams. I have the Rams tonight to win. think we both have them to win. So
Yeah,
I
we
think
do.
we're undefeated on our picks. By the way, we're
Well, no, because I picked the Chargers. I know I picked the
you're
Chargers
right.
over the
We did pick
Texans.
the
Yeah,
Chargers. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry we did. Yeah, we put faith in Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh,
yeah,
but we did pick the upset of the Commanders. They
we
were
did.
the
We
underdog.
did.
They were the underdog. So I'm not mad at
Yes,
that.
yes.
But yeah, well,
Um,
it'll be a good game tonight and good games next week as well.
well, absolutely, absolutely. Of course, the Ravens have the best game playing on at 6:30. I want to say it is
Yep.
on Sunday. It's going to be fireworks, absolute fireworks. I saw somebody ask in the chat here, does KC play before the Ravens do? And yes, they do. They do. I believe they play on Saturday. They play Houston on Saturday.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, definitely have to keep our eyes open for that one. It would be crazy, absolutely just ludicrous if the Texans were able to pull off an upset against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have been kind of like sitting on ice for the past couple of weeks, so I know they're going to be ready to go. Of course, it's a very experienced team in the playoffs, but the Texans team, I mean, they're looking a little feisty right now. They're looking a little feisty, and of course, and everyone's counting them out. Nobody's expecting them to win this game against KC, but it would definitely turn the football world, on its head, literally on its axis, if they were to knock off the defending champ, the two-time defending champions.
One more thing before we go.
Okay.
Captain's patches.
Oh, yeah. That
How'd
was
you
new.
feel? How you like them?
I I liked it. I liked it. Honestly, it felt like it feels like, I don't know. It's just something about the mentality and the mindset and the vibes on this team right now, as opposed to in years past. Like, who all had the captain patches on? I know Lamar had it. Andrews, I want to say. Who else had
Derrick
them?
Henry,
Right.
Roquan.
Yeah.
Um, I think Chris Board may have had one.
And see, I like that because I feel like it empowers those guys to be the leaders that we need them to be, especially in these moments. Like, it may not mean much because it's literally just to see just a little captain's patch on a jersey, right? It's not going to help anybody make a harder hit, make a better throw, but I don't know. Again, it's just like the mentality and like the psyche of this team this year. It seems like they're all in on winning a championship, and they're not letting anything stand in their way. Steelers are just gonna, Steelers were in their way and they got rolled over quite literally. But what
Yeah.
were you about to say?
Lamar, Henry, Andrews, Board, Humphrey, and Roquan. I think that's
Yeah,
a fantastic group of players to have it. I
yeah,
think Board, honestly, special teams and how he stepped up on defense. Humphrey, I mean, he's been here, one of the longest tenure guys. Um, and everybody else, enough said. One guy I would nominate Ronnie Stanley. That's one of the guys I think would maybe deserve one. I think he's just a staple, a cornerstone of that line. But clean up those penalties, maybe we can talk about it. But I liked it. I think John Harbaugh, honestly, he's really done well this past couple of weeks, coaching wise, just saying the right things in the pressers and just showing faith in his guys. I like it.
yeah, yeah. Same here. Hopefully we can continue to see this sort of like synergy between the team going forward in the playoffs, because we're definitely going to need it. Some tough matchups lie ahead. But listen, we will be back. We're going to wrap here for this episode 292 of PRP. We will be back on Thursday for another live episode. There'll be more content coming out between now and then, but we will be back. We'll be back live on Thursday to talk about our Bills versus Ravens preview. Of course, it's going to be in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. It might
Mm.
snow. It is going to be honestly a beautiful matchup. It's going to be a great matchup, one of the best matchups of the year. So we're going to get ready for that. It's going to be a long week of preparation. Got to go back and watch some film. I got to go back and watch that week 4 matchup all over again and see what the Bills' original plan was to stop Derrick Henry and this Lamar Jackson led offense, because that'll tell us kind of what changes they plan on making, or what logical or practical changes they plan on making going into this week's playoff matchup, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be all about who can stop each other's run game. I think that's what it's going to boil down to. So, like I said, we'll be back on Thursday for that. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast in the meantime. You can also like this video, subscribe to the channel as well if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on X, hello. Make sure you slide on over to YouTube when you get a chance. Type in the Purple Rain Podcast. You will find us, PRP. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def. And you can follow this guy over here on X at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at simplyas10.prod. With that being said, thank y'all so much for coming out to this episode. I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Like Canada Baptist says, leave a like. Thank you for that, Cam. And actually, good news. Kids are eating tonight. 57 likes last time I checked. They're getting unlocked.
Ooh.
Haven't said that in a while. They're getting
Okay.
a fine meal tonight. Ravens won. We hit the light goal. They'll be eating good. As always, thank you for coming through. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive. Test negative.
Yes, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 292 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one.